this here, right? Like this is making up of your first backside test on a higher time frame. Okay, so this is making up of one backside. So you're asking about what can you see number 3 get hit or number 2? This is the range of the higher time frame. So this in itself is a backside frontside level. This is just the number 3 here is the backside frontside combination level. So if you were to take away number 3 and we were working specifically with larger time frames, you'd have a number 1 and a number 2 like this. See, this would be gone, this would be gone. You would have 1, 2, right? Backside, frontside. But that's not what happens. You have a backside frontside level here, and then you have the same thing as almost as if this number 1 was just moving to right here and this was moving to here. But this is your number 3, right? So you have 1, 2, 3 right here, right? Because this front side here is going to have its own independent range, just like the bigger range that exists when we go to the weekly is right here. You have the bigger range. You're going to have a smaller range of 1, 2 inside of that, right? So then you go back to the daily. You can see that this one out here, this little jotted one right here, this is the larger range that could be tested. So anything inside of this range can be tested. Heck, we can even be down here. No, we can't. We actually have to be right here. So like 68.38 is the greediest part of that level. But that also has a backside to its range, which is the number 3, right? So this also has a backside to its range. So number 1 gets tested. Number 2 gets tested. Those make up this number 1 and 2 right here, this level right here. Those make up of the first test of this. But this also has a backside to it because this is the greediest point. So you're going to have a backside valley right here, which makes up of your backside frontside combination level. So when you take this all into consideration on a larger time frame, all you actually did was delete this 2, right? That's why I said there's 4 tests, right? Where's that? Wherever that number 2 is in here, there's a number 2 inside of this I drew. So this is number 1, this is number 2, right? So this is just a number 1, 2. It's a very linear process. There's a number 1, 2 on a higher time frame as to where this right here is, this right here is the range and is going to have 2 tests representing the bigger range here, which is going to have 1, 2, or 1, 2, and a third level that can bounce it, right? So it could either go straight to 2 or it could go to 3. Greed versus strength, right? Which is where you get your backside frontside combination level. So when we go to the daily, you'll see how number 1 and 2, these make up of 1 test on a higher time frame. So that's really important to realize. These 2 make up of 1 test on a higher time frame, which is a backside. The front side naturally is number 2. You are going to have a range of hold levels that it could go after, giving you your backside frontside range, right? So you have 3 tests, but really you have 4 levels, but it's in a linear fashion. So number 1 and 2 will get tested because again, like if we were to delete this number 3, it just becomes the number 1 on the higher time frame. It's a linear fashion, number 1 and number 2, right? Like number 1 backside, 2 front side. As to where on the higher time frame again, this number 1 is already established. So you have a combination time frame on the lower level, which is your backside. So you have 3 tests, a backside, a front side, and a backside front side. However, they are linear to each other. So within its range, it's 1, 2, next range, 1, 2, next range, 1, 2, next range. But in between, so like this, if you have, like I just said, 1, 2, next range, 1, 2, next range, 1, 2, and so forth forever. There's a number 3 that exists here, which is the backside frontside combination level, which is 1, 2. You see? So this is 1 test. This is a second test on a higher time frame. There's a level here that bridges the number 1 backside, which is the first test to the absolute greediest level. And that's your number 3, which is the backside, front side, because it's the backside of this and the front side of this. And just like this would be the same thing. This is just 1, 2. This is your 3, because this 3 is going to be the backside to the larger time frame, or the front side to the smaller time frame. Oh, sorry, the other way around, the backside to the smaller time frame, or the front side to the bigger time frame. But they always go in a linear fashion like that. Let me just go back here to where it's like this, right? Take that off, take that off. This has a test, this has a test. That is 1 larger test of this, which makes this a backside, right? Like this, that makes that the backside, and this the front side. This front side is going to have its own independent 1, 2 test of a backside, which will be your 3 right here, which is a backside frontside combination level. So you have 3 tests 4 levels, but a linear connection, like a linear relationship between 1 and 2s, because this makes up of the number 2, where this would be a number 1 to this number 2, which I just call it a 3 because it's a backside frontside combination level. Otherwise, it would just be way too confusing. So this is like your third higher time frame test. This is your third backside frontside combination level, which is your third test. So you have 4 levels. You have 1, 2 here, 1, 2 here, with 3 tests. So you have backside, frontside, which have a linear relationship to each other, and backside, frontside here, which have a linear relationship to each other, and backside to frontside here. But it's all like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's just there's a bridge between one of the 1s and one of the 2s, and it's the third test of that range. Delete some of these strokes, and where's the next one? Went too far, right? So this compromises as a 1 on a higher time frame. This compromises or composes a number 2 on a higher time frame. This number 2 has its own number 1, which is your backside frontside level here. So it has its own linear relationship to each other, and so far why I call the backside frontside combination level the number 3. So when we look at this, we're here, right? You have number 2 here, which is the range. We're going to delete that number 2. So that's what we could go after. We're going to get rid of this one. Go on the smaller time frame, right? You have the backside. This is justifiable. This is justifiable, right? That's number 1, number 2. So this makes up of your backside frontside combination level on the daily time frame. When we're looking at the weekly, down in this region here, right? Once both of these are tested, you're going to go to this number 1. That's not a very good one. Hold on. This number 1 right here, and this number 2 right here. So this number 1 is your 3, right? Because that's your backside frontside combination level, which these have a relationship to each other. Just like backside and this have a relationship to each other. So it's a third level because there's a higher time frame 1 and 2. Questions?
So on the higher time frame now that it's bounced off this number 1,
Yep,
and we have that front side that hasn't per se been tested yet, is that kind of considered tested on the higher time frame? It might bounce off that, but on the higher time frame, it's probably coming down to your front side, backside.
Yeah, so you're going to have, like, this is tested, right? So this is tested on the higher time frame now.
Yeah.
Where are we here? We're on, yeah, we've got 4 more days. So if we go to the weekly, yeah, that's absolutely tested. Yeah, it's well far gone. You'd be down in this range now. Down
so this
here,
would pretty much test that really, if it has a bounce, it'll be small, not higher time frame bounce. It'll probably be down here for the higher time frame.
You can still test this. You can still test this. Those are your 3 levels right there. Like, this is your final piece of your first test, right? Like, this is the final piece of the first test on the higher time frame. So you can absolutely still test this. And then you have 2 more levels here and here.
And then you have the actual real front side down here as well, still, don't you? Or
Yep,
is that invalidated by the combo? Yeah.
Nope, absolutely. You could say, start there, let's move the time frame up. There's no valley there. So you could kind of start here and then work down. That's tested. This is not. This is starting to be exactly what you were just looking at. This backside is tested. So now you've got a front side because this is not going to hold. There's nothing in here. That's tested. Yeah, that's still tested there. And this is tested. That's tested. This is not. So this is the untested piece. So yeah, exactly. When you're down in this region now, like there's quite a gap there. You might have something else here. 12. No. You don't have anything actually. Maybe we can check the 4 hour. I don't think I'd go lower than this though. Yeah, this is already tested. Maybe you have this 62. Yeah, okay, fine. This test that range right there. This test that range right there.
It's more, the reason I'm saying is we were more just talking about the backside and that backside front side, and you didn't really talk about the front side down at the very bottom. I was wondering, is that now
Yeah, I think this is
non-existent?
Yeah, I think this is your level right here. 53.89, and if I press Control Z, 53.89.94 versus 53.89.64. Yeah, that's your good call, Dilbert, because that's exactly what it would be, right? Because this is This is the first range in this move. This is the second range, right? And you're testing the backside of this. So the front side would be here of the larger time frame, which is going to gap from 68.38 by the looks of it, unless there's something else in there I missed. There could possibly be something right here. Kind of looks like there might be something right there. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd trust this. Unless there's something pretty damning there. That's actually pretty good. This is definitely something that's going to catch this move. Even though this is tested here, the range itself, 58.96. There's kind of a third range in here, actually. Yeah, you can see it on the smaller time frame on the daily here. You don't see it on the weekly. The weekly, you just see the two. You just see this and this. On the daily, you can see it. There's a smaller range there. So yeah, it can stop it. 58.96 is a good level. There's nothing there on the weekly test. So you can go to the daily and say this backside is already tested. This might not even be in play right now. This backside's already tested. I would go down to a lower time frame and see if there's a more defined. Yeah, the 12-hour. This is good. This is good. Backside, front side combination once this gets lost. This should bounce it big. This will try to hold it. Yep, and that should cause a large bounce, and this should try to hold a move. This will be the first big target. Like this is going to be a target in the future. For shorts, this is a target. This is your profit cap on the next round of shorts. This one here and this one here. I don't think you can go past this 72.58. 72.58 would be lovely, but I don't know if you can go past it. It's possible. No. I mean, to get to it, I don't know if it's possible, but it's going to be held up by this 877. What is that? 77.16. Yeah, it should be propped by this level. 77.16. So there's like a $500 gap between those two levels. So that'll be kind of another range collapse. I don't think you'll go straight to that, but you could. But I would use this as a target. This is definitely a short target in the future, though, right here. And this is a long target right here. They're both long targets, but you have to be careful on this one. Cause a big bounce. We could go bleed right down to the next level, but I would use this as a target for sure. This is what I'd be looking at. I'd first define some top criteria, right? So I would say, okay, we have our trend here. That's good. This whole level can possibly hold a trend. So I just want to develop some profit cap criteria, I guess is the best way I'll put it. And, we kind of have this range to this range. So we're aware of a target on the bottom. That's good. I like this target. We can also mark the 4-hour and decide between those two in the moment. But for me, this is a really nice level, 77.80. I really like that. Before I go anywhere, I'm just going to see. Yeah, that's good right there. Is there anything on the 4? Yeah, there is. Okay, so you know what? I will define a second level and decide in the moment. So we have 2 levels here. I really do like this daily, though. If I'm being honest, I really like the daily 77.80 and 77.16. So you would possibly get liquidated from here to here. It's very close. So I'd keep that in mind. I would say, okay, if I'm buying this higher level, there's a possibility I get liquidated. So if I am going to buy this level, like I'm really going to buy it to the dollar. Like I'm going to go 77.8201. Like I'm going to buy it to the dollar because this is going to be very close to liquidation. It's like on the line. If it slips past this level, even the tiniest bit, it's going to liquidate. So I would be very cautious on this higher level, but I would definitely be taking 77.16. I might even take 77.50, some in between level, because it could bounce off the backside 77.16, slightly bleed over. And it could also be a 1-hour level in there. So I just want to be aware of the possibilities here. Buy 77.80 as a level. So I can go, let's see. Yeah, 77.80. So I could go like 77.80.40. Would be very careful. So that's the first thing I'm going to say is that. Okay, so that's good. But I just want to know, just in case we get there and there's a massive trade to be made, I want to be a part of it, right? So top range, let's work on that too. Top range, we have that there, fine. Just really want to see where my levels are in here. This is obviously testing here and here. So we're somewhere here, which is likely going to be here. This is already tested here. So now we're going to be here somewhere. That's fine. Just good to know for the future here. something in this region. You could even go right here. This is pretty greedy. I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't need that. I already know what that is. I don't really need this. This is already tested. This is tested. So yeah, I do like this level right here. I like this level. This 77.65. Would also like to put the backside of that as well. Just kind of take a look to see where this thing could be. So you got the backside hourly here. We have the backside there, 97.21. We won't get liquidated at 97.65. So I do not mind that 97.21. It's okay. I think there's a cause for 97.42 as well. There's a cause for 97.42 as well, but I'm going to stick with my higher time frame targets. I think they're more alluring as targets. So I think I like these two, 97.21, 97.65. So I kind of have my targets up top and below, and I'm typically going to use the higher time frame. There is no higher time frame here that's attached to this candle. There is my higher time frames down here, so I'm comfortable with those. These ones, though, I'm not. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the hourly, and I'm most likely taking 97.65 there. So I'm most likely taking 97.65. I want to be aware of 97.21 though, because if it hits that and it just won't go over it, I know what's going on, and I can take the inverse that hits that level. So if it goes here and then, you know, falls down and has a little inverse here, you know, and holds that, I can get in my shorts. So that's good. So I want to be aware of that level, and maybe what I can do is I can just, you know, mark it a little differently here. Something like this. A really thin dotted line like that, just because I know that's the level protecting kind of its own level, right? We're going to do the same thing on this one. So now I have, like, you know, where the top and bottom of my range is. So now I can work from there. So now I'm going to go back to my daily and say, okay, what's going on? We just hit this right here, which obviously went higher. Delete that. We're going to copy paste this one here. We're going to start here, and we're going to go to our next time frame and say, okay, we're right here. Is there an hourly here? There is right here. So this is what it tested. It just tested this. So the 4 hour is holding. So we can just simply leave it on that 4 hour. I think that's correct to leave it here on this 4 hour. 4 hour, and also it's testing and holding the 1 hour. So that's fine. We can leave it here. Where's the next range? So it did test this right there. Hasn't tested here. I want to start with a higher time frame here. I don't like this already. Here to here, and that's all kind of micro tested in there. So this range is testing. It's going to go after this range next. So I think this is a possibility. If we continue to hold, I think we can actually come up to this higher range. But let's even go to the 12 hour and make sure there's nothing we're missing. There's not anything on the 12 hour here. 97.45 is between our two levels. So we're good there. 6 hour, nothing. 4 hour. Yeah, you know what? We have something here on the 4 hour, but let's keep digging. Let's keep digging to find the obvious level, which is right here. So this is the very obvious level. It's this is tested and held quite nicely. You've got a decision between this level, which on the 4 hour is right there. So that's tested, that's tested, that's tested. This is kind of tested. So you could be something like this maybe. Find the 1 hour level here, which is this guy here. Yeah, I don't mind this level. Down into a smaller time frame at this point, because there's nothing overly convincing yet. So I do want to find something that's like very convincing, right? Like even this is tested right there. So I don't really want to use this. I definitely don't want to use this. That's tested there. Probably this right here is pretty untouched. So I like this as a short target for this range, the entirety of this range. I like this level. It's good. Even this is tested. This is also not tested right here. So I think that's okay. But I think given the option between two levels, I always go after the greedier one. So if I'm given the option between, say, something like this here, which hasn't been touched yet, and you see the problem is this one is, this is not. So I think those are your three levels, 1, 2, 3, like that. They're all three of them. This one is less likely the target. This is more likely the target. But this is more likely to hold as to where this is not. So I like 3 targets on that side. Now I want to draw some trends as well. So I've got a few targets here. Let's just draw some trends. So we're going to start from here to here, which that's fine. That breaks perfectly actually. And we are going to go right here like this. And that's like the perfect, not only perfect trend right now, but also the perfect interior trend. So what I would look at right now is if this move is going to long, you got to get it past the trend and you've got your targets above. Okay. If this is going to short, I would look for the level that it's shorting off of. Doesn't have anything actually. Not sure what this is, but target was hit. That's fine. Just make sure there's nothing smaller. There is. There's this. Has this range been tested? Not quite. I would look more like this as a short at 92.05. I might front run it a little bit. It has 2 possible shorts here and here. I'd be very careful. You're going to break trend. Probably would only take the short if you got to the larger level. When is the 4-hour closing? So that's the next thing I want to look at. 4-hour just opened. Is there any reason why we should think? I would like to take a short here. It's almost too fast though, because I haven't been charting this enough. That's your first short right there is happening right now. It's almost happening too fast, and I don't know if I'd take that short. I need to see the bottom trend where this thing can break. Which I'm wondering if we can massage to a different time frame. We can on the 3. Come on. No, we can't. It's actually holding. That was kind of the perfect level actually, because we have this right here, which is the final hold level. So there's a range inside of this that's going to hold. Might have been the best level. Come on. I do want to move this trend out just 1 piece to right here, just because I want to see the final thing that's going to hold this. So now what I want to do is I want to see, okay, that's holding. Come and pull back here now and create our next piece. So once this breaks, you know, you're going to fall down because this is representing the move. So you're going to have 1 final hold level in here. I wonder if there's any untested holds. That's what we need to see. We have, let's work from this back. So there's, this is tested. This is tested. That's tested. That's not tested. This is tested. So this is going to be your final hold level in the move. So if we're breaking this trend, it's going to be off this. Well, I mean, there's the confines of the move. There's your first hold, your second hold. If this holds, I would short it. I think we're a little late to get in the short now, unless we break trend here. But when we break trend, we're going to hit this and it's going to create our final point. So that's how I would look at this trade. I would look at this breaking and what's going to break it above. If it continues to ladder down against this being tested, if this is already tested and it's still laddering down. So that's the criteria where I'm taking a short, okay? This gets touched and it's still laddering down. And it's still laddering down. Even if this side is laddering it up like this, there's no moment left. So once you break that final layer of polarization here, like once this collapses, the move is straight down. So that's how you need to look at this move today, okay? So you're going to create a touch on this. Presumably you will. Now, I don't know for certain yet, but presumably you will. Like this is already tested. So presumably you're just going to come down to here. This is going to give you your final trend whenever you come down and touch it, right? Like right here or back here or whatever. That's going to give you 1 final little hold level right here. So once this has no protection left, it'll fall straight through. So it doesn't matter as long as it keeps laddering off of this, right? And I would also put this here like this. So that's how I'd be looking at this trade today. Like what to do right now. This is just how we step into it right now in this moment. And that gives us kind of an instant spot to go to. Now, if we break up, we have to start measuring profits, right? Like where can we go up? Where can we go down? Obviously, immediately as a scalp, we have this, right? So that's fine. We have this. So if we're shorting right now, That's a not bad trade. We have 2.5 on the bottom. 2%. We have 2% either way. Actually, this is a great trade. We just need to be able to read which way it's going here, which is going to be quite simple. Actually, it's going to be this trend breaks or this trend breaks and starts to create a cycle against these levels. Like you're going to see the polarization happening against the untested levels here. And then you should relatively have 2% on either side or close to it, at least 150% on either side. So you can either pick a number like, okay, I want to make 150% on this, or I want to make 200% on this, but stick to that number or hit your target. You know, there's going to be a target or use a trigger point, like one of those three things. Even this year, I would do this like this. U to U, which hard closes to U right here. So that's going to be your like 1-2 punch when you lose these two trends. And there's no untested levels left. So we are right now looking to see which side is going to hold. That's how I would treat this trade. This larger trend up here, I'm not so concerned about. That's hours away. If we continue to hold this throughout the course of the day, you know this thing is going to go up because it's going to break that 4 hour. In 3 hours and 40 minutes, that 4 hour is going to hard close, right? We're already opening it up. So, but by then it's going to be gone, and you're going to be up in this region here. It'll be gone. It's the decisions being made prior to that based on the smaller levels. So you're going to hard close the next 4 hour candle and have a bit of a multi candle run. So don't wait until the 4 hours hard closing. Be mindful that it will hard close in 7 hours and 40 minutes. It will be hard closed if we're moving up. Don't wait for that, 4 hours from now. Look for the untested levels that are going to break now, right? So like we have the polarized moments on both sides. We have the final untested level there. We don't even need this anymore because it's tested. So we don't need that. We just know it's tested. So this is the final moment right here before it moves up. We can justify that move up if we continue to ladder right now. We still have one level protecting us. So we're not in a polarized moment on the bottom side. And we're not in a polarized moment on the top side. We have an untested level here and one here. So we have two levels. So this is now tested. This is now tested. So we are looking to go here next.